What's going on, everyone? Georgia Tech fan account here. Luke Cowart coming back at you. Wanted to apologize. Haven't made a video in the last couple of weeks. My weekends have been pretty busy, but I'm back with a Georgia Tech versus Virginia Tech little post-game thoughts video, and then I'm going to look forward to Miami on Saturday. So diving right into it. Well, first I want to say huge program win. You're on a 2-game losing streak. People were calling for Brent Key's head already, even though he's an interim. And to go in there into Blacksburg, even though they're not a great team, still a very tough place to win. That stadium was pretty packed. To go in there on a rainy day and come back from a 9-point deficit and come back and win. It's a 2-possession game in the fourth quarter. To come back and win that on the road with a true freshman quarterback speaks volumes on where the program is now versus where it has been. We've achieved over 3 wins. We're at win number 4 for the first time in 4 years. And that hurts me to say. That's why I call myself a pain account. But regardless, big milestone for the program. And even though we are 4-5, 3 of those losses were under Jeff Collins. Brent Key is now 3-2 as the interim head coach. So that's something to keep in mind. I think this program is trending in the right direction, and whether we hire him at the end of the year or not, first of all, is TBD. We don't have enough information to make that decision right now, I don't think. And I think a lot of the fan base would agree with me on that. And also, whether we hire him or not, I think this program, regardless, is going to be trending. I wouldn't say trending super far upwards like rocket ship. Don't expect to win the ACC next year by any means. But getting rid of Jeff Collins is like cutting the fat off of the steak. I think it really just got rid of some unneeded parts of the program, and losing him and T-Stan is really going to help this program because we upgraded that coach and we upgraded the AD as well. So that's a positive outlook for the football program. And I think we're trending in the right direction. So talk a little bit about the Georgia Tech Virginia Tech game. My thoughts, starting off with the defense. I like what I saw, but they are playing a very interesting style of defense right now. We've seen this type of defense a lot under Collins the last 4 years, or under Thacker, I should say. And it's really just playing a style of defense where you're going to let the defense drive on you, give up easy, short under routes, slants where they're all day, hitches where they're all day for them. But you're basically banking on the fact that you're going to create a turnover. And we've seen a lot of success with that with this defense this year. And I think that's because you've seen that success with inferior opponents that we've played, inferior offenses. So I think that you see that success when you play an offense that's not as competent. But then when you turn around and you look at games like Clemson, which we did play well on defense in that game for a little bit, but you look at games like Clemson, you look at games like Ole Miss, you look at games like Florida State, probably 3 of the best offenses we've played this year. And then you start to realize that bend but don't break, kind of rely on turnover type of defense doesn't work as well, because those teams, those offenses are less inept. They're more competent, and they're not going to turn the ball over as much, just because they're a better offense. That's all it boils down to. So don't let the fact that we held them to a touchdown in the second half and came back and won distract you from the fact that the defense still does need a lot of work. Now, is it miles better than last year? Absolutely. 100%. You don't see guys getting torched over the top anymore like they were last year. I mean, people are in position, DBs especially. Linebacker play has been stellar. We tackle better than we used to. So definitely a lot of positives to talk about on the defense. I'm not taking away from the defense at all. And there's actually a couple of players I'm going to shout out in a second. But I don't think we can continue to play this style of defense where we're going to give up passes, give up long runs, and just kind of bank on getting a turnover when the offense gets past the 50. I like that our defense is trying to force turnovers, but we're going to have to change the way that we play and kind of change the mentality. The DCs need to change the mentality and drop the DBs down a couple more yards towards the line of scrimmage. Don't give up those easy slant routes, easy hitches. We've been doing that all year, and there's no real excuse, in my opinion, for that. So looking to see some improvement on that, but the defense has been much improved this year. Very, very proud of them. Very happy for them. Just pointing out what I see. Want to shout out Clayton Powell-Lee, true freshman, stepping in for the injured Jalen King for a third or fourth straight week, and has just looked awesome. Had the game sealing fumble recovery, and also had a pick as well, deflected by Zamari Walton and then picked off by Clayton Powell-Lee. And he added a few tackles on top of that as well, along with a fumble recovery and interception. So kid's been balling, has a very bright future on the flats, and really just blessed to have him on our defense and in our program. Looking forward to what he does in the future. So he's been playing great. Then Naquan Dowse, been playing great all year, honestly. He's gone under the radar like a lot of D linemen do, and a lot of linemen do in general. But he started to get recognition because he got recognized by PFF College and all these other Twitter accounts and sports agencies and companies that recognize, defensive standouts every week. Graded out Daquan as the third best graded out defensive player of the week. So he got some recognition that he deserves. He's been playing well all year. But I think he had like 2.5 sacks, almost led our team in tackles, was just disrupting the point of attack all day. So shout out to him. He's been playing great. He's got a couple more years here on the flats as well. And we got a lot of young talent on this team. So definitely something to look forward to. So those are my notes on the defense. Moving forward to the offense, as we all know, Zach Pyron makes his first career start. He played most of the Florida State game, but did not start that game. So he's making his first career start this past Saturday, and I thought he played pretty well. I do want to point out, before I praise him, that I want the fan base to keep in mind that don't let the fact that he's a true freshman coming in relief of our starter and playing well, don't let the emotions of that distract you from the fact that he is still at certain times playing like a true freshman. He's not Trevor Lawrence as a true freshman. He's not Jake Fromm as a true freshman. He's not Drake May as a true freshman. Those are just the facts. There was a couple throws I saw that Virginia Tech could have probably taken to the house. We got lucky. Same thing has happened with Sims in the past, so I'm not going to sit here and say that hasn't been a problem with other quarterbacks as well. But that's probably the only negative I have to say about it, because first career start, 18-year-old kid. He won 2 state championships in high school with 2 different schools. Kid's a baller. He knows how to win. He's won his whole life. And he came to a program that hasn't been winning for a while. And I feel like that's what we need. He's a leader. He's gritty. He's tough. When he runs the football, get out of the way. Kid's putting his shoulder down, and he's getting that first down, or he's getting damn near close to it. So really exciting to watch him play. He throws a good ball. There was a couple throws that were completed that he threw a little bit off the mark. Would like to see those a little more accurate. That one-handed catch that Malachi Carter had was a little bit behind his back. Great catch by Malachi. Pyron needs to put that a little more on the money. I think Malachi might be able to catch and run with that football if he puts it on his chest instead of behind him. And then the Nate McCollum ball, just a little bit outside. And I'm being nitpicky. Like I said, freshman quarterback, first career start. I hate to do this. I really do. But, I'm just looking at football objectively like I always do. He puts that ball on Nate McCollum on the money. It's not even a question. They don't even have to go back and review it, whether he scores a touchdown. Now, he did. Still a great ball. And McCollum scored that because Nate McCollum is who he is. I think you give that ball to anyone else on the team, they either have to make a diving catch or they're not able to tightrope the sideline and make it into the end zone. So, but true freshman quarterback, great passes, played well all day, took some shots. I mean, our O-line didn't really help him out a lot, as has been the theme most of this year and most of the last 4 years. So just continuously looking for the O-line to improve. But kid played great. And I'm excited to see what he does in the future. So on that topic, moving forward, a question that I pose that I've been pondering myself. This is why they don't pay me the big bucks to be on the coaching staff. But you have to consider, Pyron can only play in 4 games before his red shirt's burned. He's now played in 2. Sims is still day to day. He could go if he needs to, but he's not the Jeff Sims that we know and love right now, as far as a health standpoint goes. So you have 3 games left, 3 regular season games, and then you might make a bowl game. You play Zach Pyron in the Miami game, sure. You play him in the UNC game. That's his 4th game. If you were the coach and you had to make this decision and you're looking towards the future, do you play Zach Pyron in the UGA game, give him that 5th game, make his redshirt ineligible, so he comes back next season as a true sophomore? Or do you play him in the Miami game, play him in the North Carolina game, sit him, play Jeff Sims in the UGA game, and if we make a bowl game, play Jeff Sims in the bowl game and retain his red shirt and tell him, hey, you're the quarterback of the future. We want to give you as many years of eligibility as you can. So you play him for 2 more games and then you sit him. That's a tough decision to make. It is. And there's pros and cons to both sides. It's hard. Bryce Kuhn said this actually on the Crowded Booth on his show. So all credit to him, but I'm going to pose the same question. Can you really take away an opportunity of a true freshman kid like that comes in and is 1-0 as a starter? Let's assume that he wins the Miami game, goes in, and we upset North Carolina, which is unlikely, but it happens. He's 3-0 as a starter, and he'll have played his 4th game. Do you tell him, hey, we're going to sit you, we want to redshirt you? I mean, kind of a slap in the face. I mean, and the way that the transfer portal is these days, kids leaving, you never know how he's going to react to that. Now, it's not that big of a deal, I wouldn't think, but you never know. So that's a question that the coaching staff needs to ask themselves and make the right decision on, and something that I'm going to be looking forward to seeing what happens, especially if Sims does end up getting 100% healthy in these next couple of weeks, which I'm assuming he is because he's already day-to-day right now. I would expect to see Zach Pyron in the Miami game with Sims being the same day to day. But then when we get to UNC, when we get to UGA, and potentially, but probably not, a bowl game, I'm going to be interested to see how they roll there. So something to consider, definitely monitoring that situation. But looking at the offense, sorry, I got on a little tangent there, but looking at the offense from the VT game, so I talked about Zach Pyron. Wanted to mention Nate McCollum real quick. I've said it all year. Nate McCollum is the key to our offense winning football games. If he has a good game, we play well and we probably win, or usually win. If he does not play well and we don't get him involved, we lose. Nate McCollum is the literal key to this offense. And it's so funny because last year he was he wasn't a non-factor, but he was kind of like, oh, Nate McCollum. Yeah, he's a second stringer. He's a shifty guy, and, he's a good football player. And this year we're like, oh my God, get Nate McCollum the football, And so just looking at the development of him and the progression of how he is as a football player has been really special. And looking forward to seeing what he does the rest of this year and seeing what he does in the future. So shout out to him. Great player. One of the shiftiest guys that Georgia Tech has had in a long time. Besides who shall not be named, we all know. Shout out Jahmyr Gibbs, doing great at Bama as well. But McCollum is a big key to this offense, and I'm excited to see him doing well. Got to keep feeding him the football. So that's going to be a key. And then I want to see Leo Blackburn get more involved. Saw him make his debut in the Duke game, and he's been pretty quiet since. He's been healthy. He's been out there. He just hasn't gotten a lot of catches. And I know that he can make an impact, so would like to see the offense involve him a little more as well. I know we're not really an offense that has crazy firepower that can get all these receivers over 100 yards. I mean, we're a program that's lucky to have one receiver over 100 yards in a game, and that probably usually doesn't even happen. And when it does, it's Nate McCollum. So, but would like to see Leo Blackburn get more involved in the passing game, give him some 50-50 one-on-one shots. He's also pretty fast, so give him some streaks, give him some slants. He can big body those corners and just give the kid a chance to win routes and a chance to win touchdown catching balls. So we'll like to see that as well. And then Dante Smith, welcome back, brother. You haven't gotten as many opportunities as I'd like to see the last couple of weeks. We feed you like you've been asking, and you delivered. You had, let's see real quick. Dante Smith led the team with 9 carries for 85 yards and a touchdown. Folks, that is over 8 yards a carry. I think that's around 9 yards a carry, and a touchdown. So you're giving the ball to Dante Smith. He's giving you an average of 9 yards a carry. Feed him. I've been saying this all year too. Feed Dante Smith. He's the most talented running back on our roster. Hassan Hall has done great things the last couple of weeks. He's been on fire. Feed the hot hand. I'm all for it. Dante Smith is the most talented running back on our roster, and he needs to be getting at least 12 to 15 carries a game. He didn't even get that in the Virginia Tech game. He got 9 and still got 85 yards. So would like to see him continue to get fed. He needs it. He's a great player. Yeah, we need to involve him more. So those are my notes on the offense, and that wraps up my post-game thoughts for the VT game. Like I said, great game. Gavin Storer was amazing again. Great comeback win. But we have to improve if we want to beat Miami, if we want to beat UNC, if we want to make a bowl game. I'm not even mentioning the last game. We're not going to win that. But still need to improve. Still some things to improve on. So don't let the win overshadow the fact that, we still have to do good things to win football games. Virginia Tech is not a good team, but great win. Not taken away from the program. Love to see it. Would love to see us keep it rolling. So quickly talking a little bit about a Miami preview. Some things to note. Tyler Van Dyke re-aggravated his injury in the Florida State game. He re-hurt his shoulder. He had gotten x-rays on it after the 45-21 Duke loss. And he was able to come back in and start Florida State, re-aggravated it, went to the sideline, went in the medical tent, came back in, threw a pass that was really bad, and then was out for the rest of the game. So he re-aggravated his shoulder. I'm not sure where Jake Garcia is. Jake Garcia is the freshman from Grayson who has been relieving Tyler Van Dyke for this year. They instead started Ja'Cory Brown, another true freshman that they have, for the majority of the game. And he finished with a whopping 57 yards passing. So not really a threat. Don't expect to see Tyler Van Dyke. Expect to see either Jake Garcia or Ja'Cory Brown. Jake Garcia, I think, being the better passer. Ja'Cory Brown definitely being the better runner. So we might see both. But like I said, don't expect to see TBD out there. I think he's re-aggravated his shoulder. And obviously they're thinking of the longevity for the kid. They don't want to throw him out there in this game. So don't expect to see him. Miami has a strong run game. They got Henry Parrish Jr., who's got about 453 yards on the year. Let me double check that. 569. Wow, I was incorrect. He's got 569 yards on 120 carries with 4 touchdowns. That's averaging 4.7 yards a carry. So this kid's a threat. And I don't want Georgia Tech fans to overlook this football game. I know we are favored. We don't have a good history when we are favored as a football program in the last couple of years. This Miami team's hungry. They just got throttled by their rival, 45-3 at home, nonetheless. So they're hungry for a win. Not saying that we aren't, but we're coming off a win. Spirits are high, emotions are high. It's going to be senior day. If we want to win this football game, we need to lock in, because this Miami team is trying to make a bowl. They just paid Mario Cristobal boatloads of money. They have really good recruiting classes coming in. They need to win football games and make it to a bowl game to keep some of these guys and let them know that there's hope for the future. And that's a program that expects to come in and beat Georgia Tech, especially the last couple of years. So we need to lock in if we want to win this game. I think Miami has more talent than we do right now. I think we're the better coach team right now. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be a close game. Whoever wins, it's going to be close. But this isn't Miami's not going to be a pushover. They haven't been playing well. They've lost 4 of their last 5 games, but they're hungry for a win, and they are pissed coming off of a 45-3 loss to their most bitter rival. They hate Florida State. One of my best friends is a Miami fan. Trust me, they hate Florida State. So coming off of that is never good. I think they're going to be fired up, and we have to come in and take whatever punch they're going to give us and be able to respond to that and punch back. So my score prediction for this game is I think it's a low scoring one. I think we win it 24-22. I think we pull it out on senior day. I think the Georgia Tech team is riding the momentum they have right now, the 1-game winning streak. I think Miami's skidding a little bit. They don't have their starting quarterback. Our DBs have been playing really well, forcing a lot of turnovers, getting a lot of interceptions, and I think we continue that streak. I think Miami has too many turnovers to come back from, and I think they make a late push. But I think we do dominate most of the game and end up coming out on top 24-22. So that's my score prediction. Keys to the game, like I've said all year in every game, got to get Nate McCollum going. Get him the ball. Dante Smith, feed him. And if it's Zach Byron, make the right reads. Don't make any stupid decisions. And when you take off, because we've seen you can run. And they're not going to, I don't think they're really going to respect the fact that Zach Byron has that scramble ability. So when you see the opportunity to scramble, do it. Take it. Those will be the keys to the game for me. I'll be there. I have field passes pregame, so look for me on the sideline and on the field pregame. So I'll be down there, and I'll be in Atlanta all day cheering on my Jackets. So really looking forward to it. Looking forward to getting that 5th win, and then seeing what we can shake up at UNC to try to get bowl eligible here. But this is a must win if we want to get bowl eligible, because we're pretty much counting the last game as a loss. So got to go 2-0 these next 2 weeks and see where we're at. But that's my post-game thoughts, my Miami preview. This has been the Georgia Tech fan account, Luke Cowart. Give me a follow on Twitter, interact with me, ask me questions, all that good stuff. But for those of you going to the game, be there, be loud, be proud. See you there on Saturday. Go Jackets. To hell with Miami and to hell with Georgia.